Good evening, everybody. Oh, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Um, yeah, so we take a look at the Atlantic Basin and, goes east here, full disk. We've got Tropical Depression 2, which is sitting right here. We have Invest 95E that is sitting down here into portions of the Eastern Pacific as well. Now, this little blob, this is a tropical wave, not expected to do anything, just showers and thunderstorms. So, let's get down to Tropical Depression 2 here. That's what's triggered our live stream this evening. As we can see, we've got a mesoscale view of the tropical depression. We don't really see a lot. A lot of the upper level clouds are obscuring the surface, so it is very difficult to see down to the surface of the storm itself. But as we can see here, it is listed on the National Hurricane Center's website. Our current track brings it into portions of eastern Mexico, and a tropical storm warning has been issued for portions of the eastern Mexican coast. If we take a look at the advisory, currently we're located at 19.3 north, 92.2 west, approximately 240 miles east-southeast of Tuxpan, Mexico, and about 130 miles south of Veracruz, or east of Veracruz, Mexico. Maximum sustained winds right now are 30 miles an hour, moving west-northwest at 7 miles an hour, with a minimum central pressure of 1,011 millibars, or 29.86 inches of mercury. Again, a tropical storm warning has been issued for this area here of the Gulf of Mexico, or the Mexican coastline there on the Gulf. So we are certainly expecting some impacts. If we come down here to the hazards affecting land, we are looking at rainfall of totals of 3 to 6 inches with maximum totals of 10 inches possible across the Mexican states, of quite a few of them. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these, folks. So with the topography that is there, we could see some flooding, as you could see here with this mountainous terrain located right in this region here. So that would potentially end up causing some flash flooding. Especially if we get some really significant rainfall totals in there. We've had hurricane reconnaissance recently, just now leaving the storm. We've had multiple little areas of surface circulation or no wind at that point. So it's really going to be kind of interesting how this evolves throughout the overnight period. But they've definitely found a closed circulation. Now, looking at the forecaster's discussion, it mentions the fact that the hurricane reconnaissance aircraft found a closed circulation. We do have the initial motion there in paragraph 2. But now paragraph 3, this is where the intensity comes in. So I'm going to go ahead and read this in its entirety. The depression's wind field is still somewhat broad and in the formative stages. In addition, the environmental conditions are not ideal, with some 20 to 25 knots of west-southwesterly vertical wind shear diagnosed by ship's guidance that should prevent more robust intensification of this cyclone. On the other hand, sea surface temperatures are fairly warm, 28 to 29 degrees Celsius, and there is ample mid-level moisture to sustain the convective activity. Thus, some slow intensification seems likely, and the intensity forecast shows the depression becoming a tropical storm before making landfall in Mexico. However, once inland after 36 hours, the system should quickly weaken and dissipate by the early portion of next week over the rugged high terrain of central Mexico. This intensity forecast is largely in good agreement with the Consensus Aid HCCA and the most recent HWRF Hurricane Regional Model Run. And as we could see, taking a look at the intensity forecast, we've got it up at 36 hours, well within the next 24 hours. We've got it at tropical storm strength, 36 hours, still remaining there at 40 miles an hour. And then at the 48-hour mark, it would already be inland. Now, taking a look at the track. So this is our consensus model for the track, as we could see. Somewhere there, kind of pretty good idea there into eastern portions of Mexico. If we take a look at the HCCA, they are quite similar in their location. The HCCA is a little bit zoomed in, but they are almost identical with their landfall points. And if we take a look at the intensity, maybe a brief stint as a tropical storm there, but not too much. And if we take a look at the consensus, again, the consensus really doesn't bring it to tropical storm strength, but we'll have to see. And this later on is disregard all that. That's not. This actually may a little bit of energy kind of work its way down to the Eastern Pacific, but that I digress on that. So if we take a look at the spaghetti plots, as we can see, we don't have really anything. Halves B is the only one that gets it up to 39 knots, which is the equivalent of about 45 miles an hour. So we may squeak a 50 out of this, depending on the pressure gradient and how quickly this thing can organize. As far as a hurricane goes, I'm not sold on that at all. It lacks the time that it needs over open water. It's still a very broad circulation. Plus, the environmental conditions are not ideal, like the discussion said. If we take a look at the rainfall, now this is going to be the part that's going to be very concerning. North of the landfall area, it is expected to receive the highest rainfall totals. That would be the onshore flow of the circulation. And as we could see, a widespread 6 to 8 inches with isolated totals up to 10 with this kind of darker yellow color here. So significant rainfall, and if you notice, some of this rain gets up into that rugged terrain there to the west of the coastline, and that water is then going to try to flow back to the Gulf of Mexico. Now, we could see maybe a shedding rain band if it can get itself and get its act together a little bit, kind of maybe increase some of the shower and thunderstorm activity down here into southern Texas. But again, it's not going to be too overly impactful. As far as our tropical storm force winds, as you could see, our earliest reasonable arrival time will be Sunday 2 p.m., most likely getting in and around sunset there Sunday evening, maybe a little bit afterwards. Now, jumping into Earthnull, this is something that I do want to, we're going to kind of go through this and do kind of three things at the same time. So if we take a look, our trusty green circle, we've got our surface circulation associated with Tropical Depression 2. We've also got a broad circulation out here associated with Invest 95E. Now, right now we're at the surface. We've got our trusty green circle down here associated with what we will perceive as the center of circulation, which we can actually... we can adjust that 19.3, 92, 94.2. So that's close enough. So we'll put our trusty green circle there. It's 19.1, 94.5. So it's close enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to start coming up with height into the atmosphere. And if we come up to the 850 millibar, if you'll notice, this is approximately 1 mile above the ocean surface. And we've got a definite area of low pressure, a low pressure spin. Again, it is broad. It is not very tight. Again, the same thing associated with 95E. If we come up a little bit further, now we're about 2 miles up into the atmosphere. If you notice that the low pressure center, or the center of circulation that we can kind of see here is a little bit further to the south, is kind of disjointed, so it is not very organized vertically. It does not have the structure that you would like to see for a rapidly intensifying storm. Now, if we move up to the 500 millibar level, as you can see, there is a little bit of wind, increased winds, and it is associated with our spot down here with 95E at that point. But now if we look at the 250 millibar level, so this is approximately 6 miles up into the atmosphere. So what we're getting is we're getting a little bit of shear, that southwesterly shear, being that we've got winds coming from this direction and this direction. And now if we come all the way up, we've got winds going in an opposite direction. So this helps increase the shear. And it's a lot of it has to do with the convective activity associated with not only 95E, but as you could see, some of the convective activity that is over the landmass of Mexico here as well. So it's not in the best environment, but it is certainly enough there to potentially get its act together and get itself going. Now, I'm going to break away here from Tropical Depression 2, and I'm going to come up here to the southeastern United States, because this is something that I feel that this is what's had my attention over the last couple days. Not so much this, because we all knew it was going to be a short-lived storm. That being said, impacts are still going to be felt along the Mexican coastline there. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up to the 250 millibar level, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we get a good look of the southeastern United States and what the air currents are doing approximately 6 miles above the atmosphere. And I'm going to go forward in time. Now, please keep in mind that this is the GFS operational run that this goes off of. So this is not going to be exactly what happens. This is just one model, one run. You don't ever trust it. But what it is going to do is kind of give you an idea of what we may be looking at over the upcoming week. So I'm going to go forward. This is 24 hours. And this is 48 hours. And if you notice, we've got this upper level low that is over here, near the Turks and Caicos, creeping to the north and to the west over the area here off coast of the east coast of Florida, north of the Bahamas. So now, as I bring this forward a little bit more, we will notice that there is a low pressure center associated way up here, and we're getting this kind of trough frontal boundary that is starting to kind of work its way down. And you can tell this by the fact that we've got kind of the lower winds in this way and in this jet max right here. So we've also got our little upper level low. As you can see, it's starting to kind of trough out and elongate. Now, as I continue to go forward, now this is 96 hours into the future. All right, we see that this upper level low has degraded. But at this point, we also have kind of a little bit of a high pressure forming right here. As you can see, we've got the winds going this way, we've got the winds going this way. So this area here is going to be a low shear environment. Well, this is at day 4. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come down, back down a little bit in height. And if we notice here on the 500 millibar level, we have the old frontal boundary kind of in this region, but we're starting to get a mid-level circulation developing here into the northeastern Gulf of Mexico. I can tell you that there are a lot of models and ensembles that are picking up on this. The signal is quite high. Now, if I take this forward one more frame, it obviously we die out right there. But as you can see, we've got a little bit of a low pressure. Now, please keep in mind that this is a mid-level. We'll come all the way down to the surface and you see nothing. All right, you don't see any type of circulation. We'll come up to the 1 mile above the ocean surface. We got a little bit of kink in the wind, but we don't have a circulation like we see at the 500 millibar level. The thing about this particular feature is that it's not going to go anywhere fast. And it's going to hang around. And it's going to hang out potentially over open waters. And this means that we could end up with this particular system developing tropical characteristics and working its way down to the surface. Regardless whether this gets its act together tropically or not, rainfall is going to be intense, and it's going to be prolific. There's going to be quite a bit. Now, counterpoint to that, with our current dust model, now I'm going to run this out so everybody can see that there is going to be a great amount of dust in the region, but as you can see, here we are, we're going to go out 6 days. If you notice, there's not a lot of dust in this very northeastern portion of the Gulf of Mexico. So there's some questions as to whether this can interfere or potentially mitigate what's going on. There's not going to be a lot of shear. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how that kind of works its way through. If we take a look at the European ensembles, now this is just the regular Euro. As we could see going through 7 days, we've got a lot of circles here. This is showing the southwestern portions of the Atlantic Ocean, not necessarily the Gulf. That is a possibility. If we take a look at the GEFS going over 7 days, it is showing the potential of the southwestern Gulf and the northeastern portions of the Gulf of Mexico. So we've got a considerable amount of uncertainty that exists within the models. If we take a look at the European AI, this is over the next 7 days. We only have just a couple little circles, but once I pop it out to 10 days, there could be a few little lines. Now, the timing of this, the development and the location, or the potential development and location, is going to be critical. Because if it is in the Gulf of Mexico and it gets cut off and it is no longer allowed to exit off to the northeast, then a high pressure ridge could build back in over the top or to the north of that and usher this system back to the west. Now, if it develops into the Atlantic, the chances of it staying or coming back to the west are lower, and it could exit out to the north and to the east. Now, one thing that I do want to show, this is the new Google DeepMind experimental model. Now, this is experimental. What I've done is I've shut off the Euro's tracks here, so we're not going to see the European model. I will put that on again after I run this, and I'm going to run this out 7 days. Now, as you could see, we've got the potential, disregard some of the low pressures running to that area. Some of the energy could be taken up by Invest 95E, and as you could see, the California or the Baja Peninsula there are in the Gulf of California could be under the gun. But take a look here. Take a look off the east coast of the United States. Now, if this sits over the open waters, we could have some issues, okay? That's something that I want to make very clear. Watch what happens when I turn the Euro on. All right, now we've got our Tropical Depression 2 here. We're getting some potential energy transfer as far as the models are concerned, but watch what happens here into the southeastern United States. right in and around our area here in Tallahassee. Now, the Euro really picks up on this. Some of them take them out, some of them leave them behind, and then, as you could see, depending on the timing, this could either come back up into the U.S. or head west across the Gulf of Mexico. So I want to make sure that folks understand that regardless of development, whether this gains tropical characteristics or not, the rainfall is expected to be intense. This is the NOAA blend of models over the next 7 days. As you could see, the rainfall totals, especially for the Florida Peninsula, are quite high. If I run this out 10 days, it gets much worse. So, there could be some extraordinarily high amount of rainfall over the next week, week and a half, especially here into the southeastern United States and the Florida Panhandle and North Florida in particular. But as you can see, some of this rain could also get down in here into central portions of the Gulf Coast region. Tampa, 5.6. So it's something that we're going to be really keeping a watch on around here. Obviously, with the Tallahassee area at 6.8 inches and us living here, we're obviously invested with an interest here. So, folks, it's definitely something that we're going to have to keep a watch on, for sure. Now, whether it gains tropical characteristics or not, that remains to be seen. But the rain is definitely going to be there. And this has been run after run like this. All right, taking a look, jumping out to the Eastern Pacific, I was kind of surprised that they didn't put a PTC outlook on Invest 95E. It is consolidating rather quickly and is really starting to get its act together with a lot of convective activity in near the core of the Invest. Right now, it has an 80% chance of development over the next 48 hours and a 90% chance over the next 7 days. It is kind of surprising that they did not pull the trigger on this, and the reason that I say that is right here in the 2 p.m. outlook. Potential tropical cyclone advisories could be initiated later today. So we could see it as early as the 11 p.m. And they may trigger it at the 8. They do have the abilities to issue PTC advisories on intermediates. So it'll be interesting. Pardon me. But taking a look at the spaghetti plots on Invest 95L, we definitely see why there could be a potential tropical cyclone advisories initiated on this. It is going to get a little bit too close to comfort down here for southwestern portions of Mexico. And then later on down the line, we could see it getting awfully close to the southern tip of the Baja Peninsula here. And once it starts to weaken, then it will turn to the left in response to the low-level conditions. But if it's got a little bit of extra power to it, it might decide to stay to the right of this track and put the Baja Peninsula in play there. Now, jumping out to the Western Pacific and points and the rest of the points westward, we have nothing. One thing that I do want to do before I look at the questions, I've been watching this because the University of Wisconsin will start up with their products here. As far as the rapid intensification goes, it's an older run. It's 3 to 6 hours old, but there's really nothing there. And we don't really have much for Mimic, as you can see here, the microwave imagery, and hopefully that's not taken away from us. Hopefully we're still able to use that in the future for this upcoming hurricane season. All right, everybody, I'm going to take a look here real quick at the comment section. All right, I don't see any questions. If you guys have any questions, just please feel free, let us know. I will definitely be watching the tropics like I always do, but maybe a little bit more of attention here to the northeastern Gulf of Mexico over this upcoming week. And I would not be surprised if this little spot up here ends up triggering more lives. I know we'll be live tomorrow night with the Tropical Depression 2. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to have anything that would trigger a live from Monday or Sunday night. Or no, Monday. I'll figure out what day it is, I promise. But from there, we're definitely going to be on the outlook watch and kind of waiting to see if this thing does shift over to at least a 40, because regardless of development, there's going to be a great amount of rain. Okay, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for tonight. Yes, Terry, I will definitely let you know. There could be a rain ban associated with your area. Let me take a look here. Let me see if I can pull the 18Z. Let's see, I don't want to use the NAM because that hasn't been performing very well. Let's see. Let's go with no. I don't think the FV3 is going to give me what I want. Maybe. Yeah, it's the 12Z. So as we could see here, just running the simulated radar for you, there could be, a little bit of increased shower and thunderstorm activity associated with that. And here it comes right there. That's the little blob that we're talking about, right in that region. So we're looking at what, 8 a.m., maybe 10 a.m. Monday morning, and then rolling through. And as you can see, scattered showers and thunderstorms all over the place. Let's see what else we can. We could try the rapid refresh. Yeah, no, it doesn't go out far enough. HRRR, if we come back to the 18Z, we can at least pull a 48 hour. And let's see. Yeah, it's just more showers and thunderstorms more than anything. Just not really. Just a lot of inclement weather. No real organization there to the impacts. We could try the NAM. They're talking about replacing this. And maybe a little bit of rain, but as you can see, it's not very. Maybe a little bit of light rain. And then it's all glitchy. Again, they're talking about replacing the NAM with the rapid refresh. Oh yeah, no, Ryan. Yeah, you're no doubt about that. We definitely are happy that we're not dealing with the approaching, running a Cat 5 across the Caribbean in late June. That was something that we could definitely do without, and thankfully, we really don't see much for the near future other than these, kind of homegrown systems. Certainly nothing coming out from the Atlantic at this time, not yet. But there's been, there's some interesting things going on right now, and I will jump in and show y'all that. Take a look here. So right now we're dealing with an Atlantic Nina. And if you notice that this has got, this is a suppressive of what we could see for hurricane season, if that holds. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I just asked of Dr. Trusula about this just recently. There is really very little skill in forecasting Atlantic Nina or Nino events. So if we could continue to have that there, that as long as that holds, it should help to kind of minimize what we see across the basin. But there are some signals that we could try to, lessen this up a little bit, and we'll start to see our water temperatures start to rebound a little bit. We've been having a lot of dust, a lot of strong winds, but the high pressure over the Atlantic is forecast to weaken a little bit over the coming week or two, and that could allow for some of these water temperatures to start to try to rebound. And as you can see, there is, it's trying. It's starting to get into those, summer months, that's for certain. But the Caribbean is quite anomalously, cooler than what we've seen them over the last couple seasons. And I'll take whatever we can get. The Gulf is smoking, but, yes, the Gulf of Mexico is smoking hot, but the oceanic heat content is not really there. We'll jump over to the Gulf. We'll jump here, June, and then, as you can see, the 27th. The water temperatures are there, but they're not super, super deep. We've definitely got enough water out there to, support a tropical cyclone, but not a total, disaster. And this is from the University of Miami and the Rosenstiel School of Atmospheric Sciences. And as you can see, atmospheric and ocean sciences. But as you can see here, yes, we do have some oceanic heat content, but it is definitely the big blob here is the loop current, and then down here into the Western Caribbean. But otherwise than that, it's not what we seen a couple seasons ago. There's no question about that. All right, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off for tonight. We'll definitely be live tomorrow night. I don't see this, getting discontinued for advisories, and I don't see it, being discontinued, especially by within the next 24 hours. So, have a wonderful evening, everybody, and we will talk to you tomorrow night. Good night.